All right, as you can see, President Barack Obama has stood by his Attorney General over the years. In 2011 and 2012, he gave Eric Holder a pass when he was caught lying about Fast and Furious. And here it is, 2013. He's now looking the other way, despite the fact that Holder was the one who authorized the unprecedented efforts to spy on Fox News Channel's James Rosen. However, with new accusations emerging that the nation's top law enforcement officer lied under oath while testifying on Capitol Hill exactly 2 weeks ago, will the president continue to have confidence in his Attorney General? Joining me now, two members of the House Judiciary Committee, Arizona Congressman Trent Franks, Virginia Congressman Randy Forbes. Gentlemen, welcome. Congressman Franks, do you believe that Eric Holder lied when he went before Congress 2 weeks ago?
Well, Sean, it appears that he did. On the one hand, he said essentially that when it comes to prosecuting the press for disclosing information or material, that he had never been involved in it, that he'd never heard of it essentially, and that he thought it would be bad policy. And yet previous to that, he had signed an affidavit regarding Mr. Rosen saying that, you know, he thought that this prosecution should occur to a judge. So, I mean, I don't know how both can possibly be true. So it is certainly one of the, he's either falsified his statements to the judge in the form of affidavits, or he falsified information to the Congress. There's no way to reconcile the two of those issues.
Well, that was my point I was trying to make to Juan Williams. He was having a hard time grasping that, but if he wasn't a target, but he had to lay that case out to the judge. Congressman Forbes, do you believe Eric Holder lied before Congress 2 weeks ago?
Well, Sean, he certainly didn't tell the truth. And Trent and I, you know, have a unique position because we actually sat in that committee room. We listened to the questions. We watched Mr. Holder. And it's important to note, he didn't talk about prosecutions. He talked about potential prosecutions, and he said he hadn't even heard of any. And as you just mentioned and Trent just talked about, this is a copy of the application for that search warrant. It doesn't say they're on a fishing expedition. It says that there's probable cause a crime had been committed. If they were filing this application and there wasn't even the potential for a prosecution, somebody not only needs to lose their job, they need to lose their license to practice law. Yeah. If this was true, what was in this affidavit, then I think we found that the Attorney General of the United States was misrepresenting himself to the Congress of the United States.
All right, so when Eric Holder said this is not something I've been involved in, heard of, or would think would be wise policy, but yet he was either then misleading Congress, which would be a violation of law, or he was lying to a judge to get the judge to approve the sweeping search warrant. It has to be one or the other, Congressman Franks?
Well, you know, I think Randy's articulated very well. Incidentally, it's something you have to say once in a while on national TV. Randy Forbes is probably the brightest person on the Judiciary Committee, and he articulated it, I think, perfectly. And, you know, this is, unfortunately, there seems to be a little bit of a pattern here. Back when we were discussing the Benghazi case with the Attorney General, he had said specifically that he had released all pertinent emails. And when I questioned him, and it's on the record, asked him, had any of these emails been sent by him, it became very clear that he had not disclosed any emails he wrote, and then he pointed out that he did not intend to do so. So there's no way that both could be true, either that he had disclosed these emails or that he didn't intend to. Something, again, is impossible to reconcile. And, you know, it almost makes a conservative miss Janet Reno.
Wow.
Because
that's saying a lot, Congressman. All right, Congressman Forbes. We also know in 2011 with Operation Fast and Furious, I've only heard about it in the last few weeks. Then documents were uncovered that in fact showed that he knew about it 10 months in advance of when he said that he knew it. So my question to you is, what are the consequences? If anybody that's watching this TV show goes before a judge, a grand jury, or Congress and does not tell the truth, what would be the consequences for them? What would be the consequences for Eric Holder?
Well, Sean, we have a perfect example with Mr. Kim. When they prosecuted him, it wasn't for just the disclosure of the information. It was also because he lied to the FBI. We ought to have the same standard for the Attorney General of the United States, who's the top law enforcement officer, as we have of the individuals he's prosecuting. If he's misrepresented Congress, it's time for him to go, and it's time to prosecute him.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, appreciate it. We're going to watch very closely, and we'll see what happens when we continue. Carl Rove is here. He'll react to Obama's House of Scandals. Should Eric Holder be fired? Will the president be implicated in the IRS enemies list debacle? But first,